The elders see that when the harmattan clears the sky, distant hills reveal themselves. Truth works the same way. It removes the haze and shows people who they really are, whether they like the view or not. Months passed. Lagos moved on, as it always did. Traffic still snarled. New influencers rose. Old scandals faded into background noise. But for Obina and Chidera, time did not erase lessons, it sharpened them. Obina's life grew quieter, steadier. He expanded his logistics business cautiously, refusing shortcuts. Trust returned slowly, first in himself, then in others. His laughter came back softer but genuine. People noticed. He has changed, they said. Yes, others replied. Pain taught him. Mama Ifunanya smiled more these days. She watched her son heal and thanked God silently. One evening she said to him, "The palm tree that bends in the storm still stands when the wind rests." Obina nodded. He finally understood. Chidera's life took a different path. She left Lagos for a while, returning to Enugu to stay with her aunt. The city that once fed her ego had starved her soul, and she needed distance. In quieter surroundings, away from constant validation, she confronted herself fully. There were no filters in the village, no applause, just truth. Her aunt, a woman of few words, listened one night as Chidera spoke honestly for the first time, without seeking sympathy. When she finished, the older woman said, "A person who chases shadows will miss the sun." Chidera wept and slept deeply that night, exhausted but lighter. Back in Lagos, fate completed its work. News reached Chidera that Kenny had been arrested abroad for fraud-related charges. The story circulated briefly online, then vanished like yesterday's trend. But for Chidera, it closed a door she once kept open in her heart. She felt no joy, only clarity. The man she destroyed honesty for had never been real. 1 year after the night rain soaked Obina on Adekunle Street, their paths crossed again, this time by design. A mutual friend invited them separately to a community development meeting in Surulere, aimed at mentoring young entrepreneurs and creatives. Neither knew the other would attend. When Obina walked in and saw Chidera seated quietly in the back, his heart skipped, then steadied. When Chidera saw him, her breath caught, but she did not look away. They greeted politely. During the session, Chidera was invited to speak about digital influence and responsibility. She hesitated, then stood. Her voice shook at first, then strengthened. She said, "Fame without character is empty. I learned that the hard way. When you build on lies, everything collapses." Some listeners nodded, others shifted uncomfortably. Obina watched silently. After the meeting, they spoke outside beneath a fading sunset. "I didn't expect to see you," Chidera said. "I didn't expect to hear you speak like that," Obina replied. She smiled sadly. Truth humbles. They stood quietly, no tension, no longing, only shared history. "I hope you are well," Obina said sincerely. "I'm learning, that's something." They parted without promises, and that was enough. Time continued its patient work. Obina eventually met someone new, not immediately, not desperately. A woman grounded, honest, unafraid of simplicity. Love returned gently, without drama. Chidera rebuilt her life slowly, walking behind the scenes, mentoring young women about integrity, teaching lessons carved from her own mistakes. Some listened, some didn't. She spoke anyway. The elders say wisdom is wasted only to the proud. Years later, in Surulere, an old storyteller gathered children and adults beneath a mango tree as generators rested and evening settled. He cleared his throat. "This is the story of love, lies, and deceit." He spoke of Obina, the honest man, of Chidera, the woman who chose greed over truth, of Kenny, the man who loved shadows, of Lagos, the city that amplifies both virtue and vice. He ended with a proverb, his voice steady. "Deceit builds houses with borrowed wood. When the owner comes, everything collapses." The listeners nodded. The lesson settled. Because in the end, love that feeds on lies will starve. Greed always overreaches its hand, and truth, slow, painful, unforgiving, always wins.